You just haven't lived until you've driven one of these things to the treasure. So, in the interest of saving lives, I'm going to show you how to build it. Check this out. Okay, like any good build, it starts with a block. Let's move that block way up in the air. Let's move it to like there somewhere. And let's make it 64. Yeah, let's make it 64 long. And then let's clone it inside of itself a few times. Okay, now there's 3 of them inside of each other, and 2 of them, the end pieces, we're gonna make those 8 long. That one, and then this one is 8, and then we're gonna bring the middle piece just to that same, just to meet up with those. So right there. So that ends up being 48. And we're gonna grab the 2 outside pieces. There you can see it a little bit better. We're gonna move those out by 6. There we go. And now I'm going to jump up here and let's see, I need to mark that center spot on that rod. So let's use another gold block. There we go. Mark the center right there. And I'm going to grab these 2. I'm going to rotate them because I feel like I am going to think better with them vertical like that. Okay, now let's place some wheels. You're going to need 50 wheels for this thing, so if you don't have 50 wheels, you might want to save up. You might be able to use front wheels too. I'm going to use all back wheels, but I think you could get away with front wheels because these aren't going to be keyed. You want to make sure you have 2 back wheels for this center position here to make the entire thing rotate. So let's see here. Let's turn them the right way, like that. Place there and there. Okay, and now let's place some ropes next. Let's see. I need to move this piece out so it's even with these pieces. So ropes, I'm going to put one right there and the other piece goes right there. And now I'm going to move that in by 2. There we go. And a rope on the other side. Okay, and move that in by 2. And now switching to springs. Let's do the same thing. We put springs right on top of the ropes right there. And move that in. Okay, and move that one in. Okay, now we need to clone this piece and this piece, just the gold pieces, not the wheels. And put it inside of itself. And then we're going to rotate that by 15 degrees, like so. Okay, now I'm going to place a block of some sort. We'll just use any old block. This one's ice, and match rotation turned on. So I'm going to place a block right there and right there, and do the same thing on the bottom end, right there and right there. And now switch to the scaling tool and 0.5. We're going to move this block down by, oh, before we do that, no, we're going to rotate by 7.5. Yeah. So rotate this one towards the other one by 7.5 and this one towards that one by 7.5. The objective here is to have these things line up. So if you place a block like that, you will see that they overlap exactly. They line up perfectly. And you want to do this when the block is a 2x2 kind of thing. So the center point where you're rotating is true to the center of the block that you've got it placed on. Okay, now I've got to rotate these. 7.5. Let's see. There we go. And there we go. Okay, now switch to the scaling tool and make these 0.5. 0.5. 0.5 and 0.5. You guessed it. Okay. Now we switch to rods, and we're going to place a rod. Let's see, I've got match rotation turned on, so I'm going to place it there and there. And then do the same thing on the bottom. It's important that the very first piece of the rod you place is on the center part, not over here on the one we just cloned at an angle, but here. The reason for that is that center, the very first one that you place, this piece here, this end, you want that to be the pivot point. So if I select it like this, you can see that that's the pivot point of that block. If you select the top one, you can see that this is the pivot point of that block. It's the very first one you place. Now you can delete this and this and this, that and that, and that. All we need is the rod. And we need to move the rods in by 2 blocks. Whoops, I'm on the wrong thing there. Okay. Move 2 in. All right, cool. Now I need to get up out of the way here, and I'm going to shrink this one down. Okay, so there it's at 1, and I want to make sure that I've got my distance set correctly here. So I'm going to place a wheel right there just to check. Yeah, so you can see the rope and the spring comes right into the center of the wheel here. It's very nicely centered. That's exactly what you want. Okay, now I'm going to select that stuff with the trowel tool and clone it. I'm just going to clone it out of my way here by 20. Clone it out there, and then back into itself, and then rotate by 15 degrees. Make sure you change your rotate back to 15 degrees. And there we go. That looks pretty darn good. I forgot to do something, though. I can see all this glitchy stuff here. I'm going to increase the size of this block and the other block by 0.1 in all directions. And I'm just going to clone, when I'm done with that, I'm going to clone this one back over onto the other one again. So I'm just going to change this to 0.1 and just zip through this. I'm just going to move these things out by 0.1 in all directions just to cover up all the glitchy stuff. All right, cool. That'll make the end product look a lot cleaner. While I'm at it, I kind of forgot, I need to move these wheels in as well. So we're going to select all those wheels and move those in by 2. Okay, and then I need to fix the deletion of that piece. I'm going to change my move back to 20 again. And rotating by 15. Okay, so that gets it back to where it should be. We should have one rod just hanging out here like this, and they're going to connect when we complete the circle. So right now, time to complete the circle. So I cloned those 2, so I'm going to move them by 2. Now I'm going to grab 4. So I'm going to rotate them by 4. And then keep those 4 selected. Clone them again. And rotate them again by 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. It is a circle of wheels. Oh, how pretty is that? That looks awesome. Okay, despite the gorgeous nature of that thing, it is going to be invisible because I like it to be invisible. But first, we're going to mirror it. So I'm going to set this to 1. I'm going to move it over like that, and that's going to be the last block that I select when I'm ready to mirror. Select that one, and whoops, I just went past it. Mirror. Providing you have enough wheels, rods, ropes, and springs, you will be at this point. Okay, and this piece needs to go over here and stick out by 1. And now we can put the wheels on there. Back wheels. There we go. And we need a chair. I'm using a pilot seat, dead center, and it's trying to latch on to a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to go ahead and move it. Whoops, move. I'm going to move it out, and then I'm going to clone it back. That immediately disconnects all of those bindings, so there's nothing binded to this chair now. And the only things you want binded are these 2 wheels right here. I'm going to set forward to T and backwards to G because I'm on a PC. If you're on a tablet or a phone or something and you want to build this exact same thing and use it, add a switch. So you put a switch like so, like back behind your seat or whatever. You key this wheel and this one to the switch. And when you turn that switch on, you go forward. And that's really the only thing you need. If you go forward long enough, you'll end up at the treasure. Okay, that's actually looking pretty darn good. So I need a counterweight. And so let's put a stick of gold down underneath this thing, centered, of course. Let's bring it down, and the counterweight just goes underneath here. And let's see, let's use titanium because that's heavy. And I always like to make sure everything's nice and neat, even numbers. And this one obviously is an odd number because, you know, the titanium didn't grab onto quite a nice even spot there. Okay, well, you want to have this nice and balanced. So I'm going to turn this to, whoops. No, let's just leave it at 5. I can't type for some reason, so let's just go with 5. Yeah, it's a good number. And let's see. That'd probably be good enough. Okay, so we want to make sure that we watch the center point of this thing. And I don't know how much titanium you all have, but I've got a ton of it, so I'm going to throw quite a bit on here. 32 by 32, or 36 by 32 by 12. Let me go ahead and make that even more even. Whoops, I need 2. What I gotta do? Okay, there we go. 36, 36, 12. That's pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna move it down. There we go. I don't want it to touch those wheels or have to redo it afterwards. So that gets the don't touch me thing here. Collision off. In fact, I think everything here. No, you want the gold blocks to have collision on. You want everything in the middle. All the springs and all that kind of stuff to be collision off, I think. Let's turn collision off on those. And this block right here is probably a collision on thing, so you can, walk on it and get in your seat and such. Oh, how much counterweight do I have? Almost 2,000. Let's double that. And then let's double that. So there's, yeah, let's do like almost 8,000 on there. Let's see, how much is it now? 7,776. Okay, good. What else needs to be done? Oh, I need to select all. Let's see here. Match rotation. Well, I'm going to want the wheel torque all the way up. The wheels that matter speed-wise are going to be the center ones. And so I'm not going to want to have those going too fast. Let's try 10 to begin with. And let's see, stiffness. So we're using the springs to make sure that the thing stays, to make sure that the wheels stay lined up with the center point at all times. We're using the ropes to make sure that even if the rods break, the springs don't fly off. They don't spring out and go nuts. Unless, of course, the rope breaks first, and then, well, all bets are off. The rods, match rotation, I think not. I think match rotation has to be turned off, but I'm not certain about that. It seems like, let me check. Okay, I just loaded up my other one for a second just to verify this. All the center stuff, you can select the whole center thing, and that should all have match rotation turned on. All the rods need to have match rotation turned off. So you need to select like so and go all the way around, grab all those rods. I could have set all this stuff up ahead of time, but that was actually pretty easy to select right there. Ooh, I missed a rod. There we go. Make sure you got all the rods selected and turn match rotation off. Angle limit, let's set the angle limit to 180 degrees on those rods, please. And that should be ready to test. I'm going to, well, I'm just going to drop it and see what happens right now, for one thing. Oh, that's kind of beautiful. All right, let's give it the go. Ooh, boy. It's working. Oh, it's working so good. Okay, that's awesome. Let's get it over here and see if I can jump something with it. Now, I have no protection blocks on it right now, so I don't know that it's going to the treasure at this moment. But the cool thing about it is it's got built-in suspension. You can see when I hit like the wall, if I do it in such a way that I hit something that it can collapse and absorb. Look at that. I don't hardly even move when I hit that stuff. So really good suspension for just a wheel all by itself. And look how it bounces. It just jumps so beautifully. Now, granted, I'm doing a lot of corrections with the A and the D, and I'm holding T to go forwards. So you can always key it so that T is um, unnecessary, that you just put it on a switch, and that would be the mobile application. And so A and D does this rotation here, and then W makes it fling like that, and S makes it go backwards like this, which is also handy because when you're going to the treasure, if you happen to get in a situation where you're running like this, you might want to tilt it back down so that your protection blocks can do their job again. But right now, even without protection blocks, I'm going to see how this thing does. This is this is a little risky. I don't usually do this without having those protection blocks involved, and we're going to see. So far, I'm kind of like good with it. This is pretty neat. That's a challenging stage sometimes. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? I mean, yeah, it got chewed up, but it's still able to spring. And I got to the treasure with it. That's awesome. Even without protection blocks, relatively full speed. That's sweet. Thank you guys for joining me for that tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can build your own. And good luck with the 50 wheel thing. It's worth it. It's really fun. See you guys in the game. Bye bye.